I have tried enough, my child, to make you capable of facing your trials, the difficulties of life. But now it seems as if I need to leave you alone. Yes, my child, I am about to leave you alone, but not for eternity, for a while. See, my child, there comes a moment in every soul's journey when my voice grows quiet, not because I have abandoned you, but because you must learn to hear what I have already placed within you. I have spoken to you in countless ways, through joy and sorrow, through those who stayed and those who left, through doors that opened and those that closed. I have whispered courage into your fears and patience into your waiting. I have carried you when you were too weak to walk and steadied you when the ground beneath you trembled. Yet even after all this, you still look toward me as though strength must always descend from above, as though wisdom must always arrive from outside you. My child, there is a sacred work that can only be done in the silence. There are truths you will never own unless you discover them while you believe you are alone. I am not withdrawing my love. I am allowing it to mature. A seed does not complain when it is buried in the dark soil, for the darkness is not punishment, it is preparation. What you call loneliness, I call space. What you call abandonment, I call trust. I trust what I have formed in you. I trust the lessons you have learned, the scars you carry, the compassion you have earned through suffering. You have asked me why the road has grown harder instead of easier. You have wondered why, after so many prayers, the answers seem delayed or hidden. Listen carefully, my child. Ease is not the measure of growth. If I removed every obstacle from your path, you would never discover the strength of your own legs. If I answered every question before it was fully formed in your heart, you would never learn discernment. I am not interested in raising a fragile soul that survives only under perfect conditions. I am shaping a spirit that can stand in storms, that can choose love in bitterness, that can remain faithful when clarity disappears. There will be moments when you reach out and feel nothing. Your prayers will seem to fall back upon you, unanswered. In those moments you will be tempted to believe that I have turned away. Do not let that lie take root. Silence is not absence. The sun does not cease to exist when clouds cover it. I am working in ways you cannot yet perceive, arranging things beyond your vision, aligning circumstances that will one day make sense. But there are also things I will not do for you anymore, not because I cannot, but because you must. You must choose courage without being assured of the outcome. You must forgive without being guaranteed an apology. You must act with integrity when no one is watching and when it costs you something. You must learn to sit with discomfort without running from it, to hold questions without demanding immediate answers. This is where your faith becomes your own and not merely an echo of mine. This is where obedience transforms into wisdom and dependence transforms into partnership. I have seen you doubt yourself. I have heard the way you speak to your own heart, measuring yourself against others, diminishing your worth because your path does not look like theirs. My child, comparison is a thief of clarity. I did not design you to replicate another life. I crafted you with specific gifts, particular sensitivities, and a unique calling that cannot be fulfilled by anyone else. When you look sideways, you lose sight of the road before you. When you measure your progress by another's pace, you forget that I assigned your steps deliberately. You will make mistakes in this season. You will choose wrongly at times. Do not fear this. I am not a fragile God who is undone by your imperfection. Failure will not cancel my purpose for you. Some lessons cannot be learned through instruction alone. They must be lived. Even when you stumble, I will use the dust on your hands and knees to teach you humility, compassion, and resilience. The only thing that can truly hinder you is refusing to move at all. There is something else you must understand. You have often prayed for transformation while secretly hoping it would not require discomfort. You have asked to be made strong, yet feared the weight that builds strength. You have asked for peace, yet resisted the surrender that brings it. In this time when you feel alone, you will discover what you truly believe, not just what you say you believe. You will learn where your foundation is firm and where it must be rebuilt. Do not rush this season. Do not curse it or try to escape it prematurely. There is a sacred slowness here, a depth that cannot be hurried. Sit with your thoughts. Examine your motives. Let old illusions fall away. Some dreams you have clung to were never meant to live. They were stepping stones, not destinations. I will ask you to release certain expectations, not to punish you, but to free you. Empty hands are not a sign of loss. They are a sign of readiness. You will discover that you are braver than you thought, kinder than you realized, and more capable than you ever imagined. When you are no longer constantly seeking reassurance, you will begin to trust the wisdom that rises quietly within you. That wisdom is not separate from me. It is evidence of my work in you. I have written my law upon your heart, not merely upon stone or paper. Learn to listen to that still, small voice that aligns with truth, with love, with justice. There will be nights when tears come uninvited. Let them come. Tears are not a failure of faith. They are a language of the soul. I am near to you in those moments, closer than you know, even if you cannot feel me. There will also be mornings when hope returns unexpectedly, light breaking through without explanation. Receive those moments with gratitude, but do not depend on them to sustain you. You are learning to walk not by feelings, but by conviction. Remember this, my child. I am not leaving you because you are weak. I am stepping back because you are becoming strong. A parent does not hold the hand of a child forever, not because love diminishes, but because love desires growth. I will still watch. I will still guide in ways subtle and unseen. I will still intervene when the path would destroy you rather than teach you. But much of what lies ahead requires your choice, your courage, your willingness to step forward even when the way is uncertain. One day you will look back on this time and understand. You will see how the silence refined you, how the solitude clarified you, how the struggle shaped you. You will recognize the person you became here, the depth of your compassion, the steadiness of your faith, the quiet confidence that no longer needs constant affirmation. You will thank me, not only for what I gave you, but for what I allowed you to earn through perseverance. And when the time comes, I will speak again in ways you cannot ignore. I will meet you not as a child who must be carried, but as a beloved who can walk beside me. Until then, trust what I have planted in you. Walk forward with humility and courage. Love generously. Choose truth, even when it costs you comfort. I am closer than your breath, deeper than your doubt, and more faithful than your fears. This is not the end of my presence in your life. It is the beginning of your becoming. My child, what you are experiencing is not new in my story with humanity. I have walked this path with those you now read about, those whose names echo through generations, not because they were spared difficulty, but because they learned to trust me when my nearness was no longer obvious. I did not change who I am with them, and I have not changed with you. What differs is the season, the purpose, and the depth of the work I am doing within a willing soul. Remember Abraham, whom I called out of a land he knew into a promise he could not yet see. I spoke to him clearly at the beginning. I told him to leave, and he left. I promised him a future, and he believed. Yet there came a moment when I fell silent in the way he had grown accustomed to. I asked him to take his son, the very fulfillment of the promise, and walk up a mountain without explanation of the ending. I did not walk beside him with constant reassurance. I did not interrupt his steps with new instructions at every turn. I allowed him to climb that mountain carrying both love and fear in his heart. Why? Because faith that has never been tested remains fragile. Abraham had heard my voice many times before, but on that mountain he had to trust my character rather than my words. When he lifted his hand, it was not cruelty that stopped him, but trust that completed him. I did not leave Abraham. I revealed what had already been formed in him. In the silence of that ascent, he discovered that obedience rooted in love is stronger than understanding. So too with you. There are things I have promised, and there are things I am asking you to place on the altar, not to take them from you forever, but to loosen your grip so that fear no longer rules your devotion. When you walk forward without seeing the ram yet caught in the thicket, You are walking the same path Abraham walked. And just as I provided then, I will provide in my time, not because you demanded it, but because you trusted me without seeing it. Remember Job, my servant, who lived uprightly and feared me. He did not bring calamity upon himself through rebellion or neglect. His suffering confused him because it did not fit the pattern he expected. He searched for me in his pain and found no immediate answer. His friends spoke confidently but wrongly, trying to explain what I had not revealed. Job cried out, questioned, lamented, and sat in ashes while heaven seemed closed. Yet even in his anguish, something profound was taking place. Job's faith was being stripped of transaction. He was learning that I am not God only when I give, only when I protect, only when life makes sense. He clung to me without reward, without clarity, without comfort. When I finally spoke, I did not explain every reason for his suffering. I revealed myself, and that was enough. Job emerged not merely restored in circumstance, but expanded in vision. He said he had heard of me before, but now he had seen me. Do you see, my child? Silence was not abandonment, it was refinement. You too are learning to love me without guarantees, to trust me when explanations are withheld. In this season you may feel misunderstood, even judged by those who believe suffering must always have an obvious cause. Do not let their voices replace mine. Like Job, you are being drawn into a deeper knowing, one that cannot be achieved through comfort alone. And remember my son, whom I sent into the world not as a distant ruler, but clothed in flesh, acquainted with weakness, sorrow, and hunger. Before his ministry began, I led him into the wilderness. I did not surround him with crowds or miracles there. I did not shield him from temptation. I allowed him to be alone, fasting, hungry, confronted by the voice that questioned his identity. If you are the Son, the tempter said. Notice this, my child. The attack came not against his power, but against his trust. Yet in that wilderness, without angels speaking constantly, without visible signs, he stood on what he already knew. When later he knelt in Gethsemane, his sweat fell like blood, and he asked if the cup could pass from him. For a moment, heaven was quiet. He felt the weight of separation that sin brings, even before the cross. Still, he chose obedience over escape, surrender over certainty. On the cross, he cried out feeling forsaken, yet even then he entrusted himself to me. Resurrection came, but not before the silence had accomplished its work. My child, if even my son walked through seasons where my presence was not felt, do not be ashamed of your own wilderness. It does not mean you are forgotten. It means you are being prepared. These three stories are not distant history. They are mirrors held before you now. Abraham teaches you that faith sometimes walks without reassurance. Job teaches you that trust can survive unanswered questions. My son teaches you that obedience in silence leads to life beyond what suffering can destroy. What you are experiencing is woven into the same pattern, not because I delight in withholding comfort, but because there are dimensions of maturity that cannot be imparted any other way. I know you wish for clarity, for a sign, for a voice that breaks the quiet and tells you exactly what to do next. But listen carefully. There are moments when guidance shifts from instruction to formation. I am less concerned with controlling your steps and more concerned with shaping your heart. If I spoke loudly at every crossroad, you would follow directions without learning discernment. If I removed all risk, you would obey without trust. I am teaching you to recognize my ways, not just my words. This season is teaching you how to carry my presence within you rather than always seeking it outside you. Abraham carried the promise in his heart before he saw it fulfilled. Job carried integrity when his world collapsed. My son carried obedience even when the cost was unbearable. And now you are learning to carry faith when feelings waver, hope when outcomes are uncertain, love when it is not returned. Do not think for a moment that I am indifferent to your struggle. I see the nights when your thoughts race and your heart feels heavy. I see the questions you dare not speak aloud. I see the temptation to give up, to harden yourself, to retreat into numbness. Resist that temptation. Do not close your heart to protect it. That will only delay the work. Stay open, even when it hurts. Stay honest, even when you are afraid of what honesty reveals. I can work with vulnerability. I cannot work with pretense. You are not being tested to see if you will fail. I already know your weaknesses and your strengths. This is not about proving yourself to me. It is about discovering yourself through me. Each step you take without certainty builds a resilience that cannot be taught. Each choice to trust without evidence deepens a faith that cannot be shaken easily. Each moment you endure without bitterness purifies your love. One day, like Abraham, you will look back and realize that what you feared losing was never truly at risk in my hands. Like Job, you will understand that what you gained in knowing me outweighed what you lost temporarily. Like my son, you will see that surrender led not to defeat, but to life in abundance. And you will recognize that this season, which felt like distance, was actually intimacy of a deeper kind. So remain steady, my child. Do not interpret silence as rejection. Do not measure my presence by emotion or ease. I am as near now as I was when you felt carried. I am working in the unseen places, shaping the parts of you that will one day support others who walk through similar valleys. What you learn here will not be wasted. Your pain will not be meaningless. Your perseverance will become a testimony written not just in words, but in the quiet authority of a life transformed. And hear me still, my child, for the story is not yet complete, and neither is the work I am doing within you. There is more I want you to understand, more I want you to carry with you as you walk forward in this quiet stretch of the journey. The examples I have given you are not meant only to comfort you. They are meant to anchor you. They are reminders that silence has always been one of my instruments, never a sign of neglect, but a tool of deep formation. Consider again how each of these lives was forever changed by what happened in the waiting. Abraham did not descend the mountain as the same man who ascended it. Something in him was settled forever. He no longer followed me because of promises alone, but because he knew me as the one who provides even when the path makes no sense. Job did not emerge merely with restored fortunes. He emerged with humility that softened his strength and wisdom that tempered his zeal. My son did not leave the wilderness weaker. He left it anchored, resolute, unshaken by lies about his identity. Silence refined them, my child, and it is refining you now. You have been asking yourself whether you have misunderstood me, whether you have taken a wrong turn, whether this heaviness is a sign that you failed somewhere along the way. Let me be clear with you. Not every hard season is a correction. Some seasons are confirmation. Some difficulties arise not because you are off course, but because you are exactly where growth demands resistance. Just as muscles grow by tension and not ease, so your spirit is growing under weight. If I remove that weight too quickly, the strength you are developing would remain incomplete. There are truths you will only believe when they are no longer supported by comfort. There are promises you will only trust when they seem delayed beyond reason. This is where your faith shifts from being circumstantial to being rooted. This is where you stop believing because things are going well and begin believing because you know who I am. That knowing cannot be shaken by seasons, opinions, or outcomes. You may wonder why others seem to hear me more clearly right now, why their paths appear illuminated while yours feels dim. Do not envy their season. I work differently with every soul according to what I have placed within them and what I am preparing them for. Some are being taught dependence. Others are being taught leadership. Some are being comforted. Others are being strengthened. Silence is not given randomly. It is given intentionally where it will produce what is most needed. You are being prepared to carry responsibility without arrogance, compassion without naivety, authority without control. These qualities are not formed in ease. They are formed when you must choose wisely without constant reassurance, when you must love without immediate reward, when you must remain faithful without visible affirmation. I am teaching you to walk with me rather than be carried by me, not because I love you less, but because I trust you more. There will come a time when others will look to you for steadiness, for perspective, for hope. They will ask how you endured when the answers were not clear. They will wonder how you remained gentle when life was unkind, how you kept your integrity when compromise seemed easier. What you are learning now will be the foundation of what you offer them. Do not underestimate the future impact of present obedience. I know that part of you longs for relief, for resolution, for the reassurance that this season will end. It will. Silence is never permanent, just as winter is never eternal. But I will not rush the thaw before its time. If I did, the roots would remain shallow, and what grows would not endure the next storm. Trust my timing even when you do not understand it. Trust my wisdom even when your heart aches for answers. Let me also tell you this: you are not as alone as you feel. Though I have quieted my voice, I have not withdrawn my care. I am watching every step, guarding you from dangers you do not see, restraining circumstances that would overwhelm you rather than teach you. There are boundaries around this season, limits you cannot perceive. I will not allow it to break you. It is meant to shape you, not destroy you. When doubt rises, return to what you already know. Remember the times I answered, the ways I carried you, the doors I opened that you could not have forced on your own. Memory is a powerful weapon against despair. Do not let the present moment erase the evidence of my faithfulness. The same hand that guided you then is steady now, even if you cannot see it. Speak honestly with me, even when your words are messy, even when your prayers feel more like sighs than sentences. I am not offended by your questions. I am not threatened by your emotions. I am close to the brokenhearted, not distant from them. Let your heart remain soft. Hardness may feel like protection, but it will only isolate you further. Softness keeps you receptive to what I am still doing. And when you feel weary, rest. Not in escape, not in distraction, but in trust. Rest does not mean you stop walking. It means you stop carrying what was never meant to be yours alone. Release the burden of outcomes. Release the need to control timing. Release the fear that silence means failure. Your responsibility is obedience. The results belong to me. You will hear my voice again, my child. It will come with clarity and purpose, not because you demanded it, but because the work of this season has been completed. When it comes, you will recognize it more deeply than before, because you will know me not only as the one who speaks, but as the one who sustains in silence. Until then, keep walking. Keep choosing what is right. Keep trusting what has already been revealed. I am still here. I have always been here. And I am leading you, even now, into something you cannot yet imagine. But one day, you will thank me for every quiet step that brought you there.